Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining and being on time. My name is Nick Lusson, and I work with Jubilee Bros Solar. I am based in Nairobi, Kenya. And today we are going to talk about PV diesel hybrid solutions. And I'm very excited for this webinar. I think many of you are as well, because this is one of our most asked about topics. So we're happy to be making this presentation. I have enabled the Q&A mode. So in the chat box, if you have any questions, type them in the chat box and try to enable the Q&A mode, the question mode. And then at the end of the presentation, I'll be able to publish all your questions and answer them one by one. So let's begin. I'll start with an introduction about Jubilee Bros for those of you who don't know us. We were started in Lebanon in 1977 as a diesel generator company. And we were in business for many years, and then we expanded into Dubai in the UAE, and then into Nigeria, where we now have around 1,000 employees. It's one of our biggest operations in Nigeria. We're also in Afghanistan, Kuwait, Ghana, Qatar, Uganda, South Africa, Pakistan, and Kenya. So we started the solar division in 2017. And so this actually puts us in a very unique place for a topic like today on the solar side and on the diesel side. We're one of the few distributors and engineering companies who are very conversant on the diesel generators and on the solar. So here's our quick profile. We have around 26 employees in the solar division. We are across those regions of Middle East, South Africa, East Africa, West Africa, and South Asia. And here is a map of our global logistics reach. So everywhere that you see a customer, we have, everywhere you see a flag, we have a customer or a distributor or a sister company. So you can see it's quite a vast reach across Africa and South Asia. And we have 6 pillars of activities that we do to support our EPC customers. So they're on the screen right now. The first one is product supply. That's simple. We're able to supply you with some top quality products. Training is our second pillar. Training like this one. We do lots of trainings, more than one a week, on a wide variety of topics to do with our equipment, particularly the Huawei inverters, but all sorts of topics, and even topics by request we can do. So we do training. The third pillar is engineering support. This means we can look at your solar designs and validate them and make sure they're optimized, make sure nothing is missing and nothing is duplicated. The fourth pillar is leads. Sometimes we engage with our end users and they request EPCs or other partners, so we're able to pass those leads on to our partners. The fifth pillar is referral to finance. We have many partners. There's many organizations who are happy to help you finance your solar projects. So if in certain cases we're able to make those connections to help you get your projects done. And the sixth pillar is after sales support. So this is like commissioning support, troubleshooting support, warranty support, and things like that. So this is how we differentiate ourselves from other distributors, and this is how we ensure the success of our partners. Now on the screen, you see our 4 categories of products. We have the Huawei Fusion Solar Inverters and Accessories. We have Lumax aluminum mounting structures. We have Jinko panels. And we also have balance of system components like DC cables, weather stations, AC combiners, things like that. With Huawei, we are what's called the VAP, which is Value Added Partner. This is a tier 1 partner of Huawei. And so we work very closely with Huawei all across the world. And CSP is Certified Service Provider. This is important because not all VAPs are CSPs. So we are certified service providers to help you with your Huawei service-related issues. Okay, great. So now let's get started with the main topic of the day, the PV diesel hybrids. So first of all, let's see. Let's talk about diesel generators, because diesel generators have some benefits and some cons as well. Diesel generators are very reliable. They have a relatively low upfront cost when you compare them to other sources of energy. And they can be deployed in remote areas where there's no grid, or they can be a very reliable grid backup where in remote areas. So these are the benefits of diesel generators. However, there are some problems with diesel generators. Number one is the pollution. Of course, they're very polluting to burn the diesel fuel. But also there's a very high operating cost. And most of this is for the price of diesel itself. But there's also regular maintenance that needs to happen, and diesel generators, if you don't take care of them, they will have problems. So any human error can easily add to your operating costs. And then there is logistics costs. And this is particularly for fuel, because fuel must be delivered to the site over and over again. So all of these factors is why diesel generators cause problems for the owners. However, there's a solution, and it is the PV diesel hybrid. So we have a picture there on the top left of a fossil fuel energy system. And then on the right, you can see we've just added solar panels. Now, one thing to know about these two sources of energy. So it's a hybrid of diesel energy and solar electricity from the sun. Over time, the price of diesel power is going up, and the price of solar energy is going down. So this is a trend that's been going for decades. And what you see on the bottom left, you can see that the price of diesel has been climbing, the price of solar energy is declining, and then there's a point where they cross each other, where solar becomes much cheaper. We are well into that side of the graph now in 2021. We are definitely on the side of the graph where the solar energy is much cheaper than the diesel. So PV diesel hybrids, or solar diesel hybrid, as they're called. Solar or PV diesel hybrid are the ideal for remote areas that are unserved by the grid, because solar also has the benefit that it can be placed where it is needed, an off-grid system, or with the solar or with the diesel. So for anyone who relies on diesel or gas as their primary source of energy, they suffer from high costs that are hard to predict. It's very volatile due to the fluctuations of price in oil. Also, the price of transporting the oil fluctuates, and taxes can change. So by using solar panels, you're able to capture free energy from the sun. You know, once you install the solar panels, the sun is free at that point. So you can reduce your reliance on diesel, because the system we're going to show you today will intelligently balance the two, and it will use the free solar energy as much as it can. So you reduce your costs, you reduce pollution, and these systems can also sometimes be used with batteries as well. So this is what a PV diesel hybrid system looks like, a very simple line diagram. So you can see that the components are numbered for your ease. Number one is the solar panels. Number two is mounting structure. Number three is the Huawei on-grid inverter. Number four is a device called the FuelSave Controller. You can see the diesel generator there as well. So that's a very, very basic line diagram. Just so you know, all five of those components Jubilee Bros can assist you with. Everything we've numbered there, we can help you design, provide support, and supply. And sometimes this system can be used with a battery as well. So there you can see 6 and 7, the batteries are included on a very simple line diagram. So the main important component is the FuelSave controller. This is an intelligent controller that will communicate with the diesel genset and with the inverter. So it will control these two generation sources. And it's important for this device to operate properly for the smooth operation. So what does it do? Well, number one, it controls the solar generation. It can increase to the maximum available, or it can decrease, and it can control that output. It can help you achieve the maximum consumption of solar energy and the minimum consumption of diesel. So this unit is what will always allow, it will shift the supply of power, maximize the free solar energy, minimize the diesel as much as possible. And also it can be grid connected as well. So it can prefer the solar energy than the grid and the diesel, or however you like it. Also, it will protect your diesel generator, okay? It will make sure that the switching of heavy loads does not damage the generator, or you're not running below the minimum output, or it will protect your system as well. So the main concerns of this unit is it has to balance your diesel generator. There's on the column on the left shows some of the factors that it takes into account. Number one is the minimum loading of the inverter. Also reverse power. You don't want the PV power to go back to the generator. That will damage the generator. Power management, as I've said, preferring your cheap source of energy, delaying or resisting, avoiding your expensive source of energy. Also spinning reserve. Generators often have to have a spinning reserve to account for sudden changes in the load. But then there's the grid as well. This device can manage the grid, choosing the cheapest source of energy and preventing export to the grid as well. In Kenya and in many other countries, you're not allowed to export power to the grid. So this device will manage that. And then on the other side, it wants to control the PV plant generation to maintain the maximum PV output. As I've said, we prefer the free solar energy as much as possible. And this is how it saves you money and repays itself. Okay, so minimum loading is something that is important for your diesel generators. There's a minimum rated capacity of diesel generators. And if you have your diesel generator operating below that, it's known as minimum, this is the minimum loading. It's usually about 30% of the rated output is the minimum rated output. So you don't want to run it below 30%, approximately 30% for extended periods of time. What will happen is you could get deposits of soot in your cylinders. It will affect the pressure that you're getting, wet stacking of soot deposits in the turbo, carbon deposits on the liner, the piston, the injector nozzles, high crankcase pressure, and oil leakage from the manifold and the exhaust. So this is what can happen if you operate your diesel generator below the minimum rated output. So the FuelSave controller prevents that. And this is what it does. It maintains the maximum output while protecting the diesel generator from going below that minimum load. So this means that sometimes the FuelSave controller will have to reduce the PV output to make sure that the generator is protected. Also, reverse power protection. So diesel generators don't typically allow reverse power into them. And what will happen is they have a safety device that will cause a blackout. It will just turn itself off in most cases. So obviously that's not ideal. So with the FuelSave controller, it will protect your generator from the reverse power feedback. Similar to the grid protection we just looked at, it will reduce the output of the PV. When there's a sudden reduction in the load, you'll have too much power, and the FuelSave controller can reduce the PV output to make sure it doesn't go back into your generator. And also the FuelSave controller maintains the power quality, and it adjusts the reactive power during the operation to make sure that it's operating in the stable window for the diesel generator. So it does allow for that as well. Whoops. Okay, also spinning reserve. This is something I mentioned earlier. The diesel generators usually have to have a margin where they can increase in order to adjust for certain changes in the load, or in changes when the PV generation is when you're co-powering the load with the hybrid solution. Sometimes there's clouds that will pass across the sky. So your PV generation will go down for a little bit while the clouds are there. So there has to be a spinning reserve on the diesel generator side to prevent frequent stopping and starting that can damage the generators as well. So that is something that the FuelSave controller does as well. And grid export, I've already mentioned this. You can set your own settings, if you're in an area that allows export to the grid, you can allow it, or you can limit it to certain measurements, or you can set it to 0. And yeah, that's another slide showing the grid export mechanism. Okay, so when and where does a PV diesel hybrid system make sense? Well, number one, for industrial large-scale loads in remote areas to complement the diesel generators with PV panels. So when the effective cost of diesel is more than 80 cents per liter, then PV panels makes a lot of sense. When they are in a very sunny area, when there's solar irradiation all around, it makes sense. When the diesel generators are typically operating in the daytime, adding PV makes a lot of sense. And also when the logistics costs are very high, the logistics costs of diesel are very high, this solution makes sense. So this is a free tip for any EPCs out there. This is how you find your customers. If you identify anyone with these characteristics, if they're in a sunny place where diesel generators are running in the daytime, this absolutely makes sense for them. Because basically integrating photovoltaics into existing diesel systems enables a reduction in fuel costs and guarantees an efficient electricity supply. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some of the solutions that we offer. So this one we're talking about today is the Encombi Solution. And it is a FuelSave controller that comes in a variety of sizes and features. And this is one that we've worked with before, and it's very reliable, and it works in many different conditions. So here you can see a line diagram with the Encombi Solution and Huawei inverters. And in this scenario, it is grid-tied solution with export control. So you can see, so on the bottom is the inverters, and then there's a smart logger, which is the Huawei monitoring device, and it connects with the iCube solar panel. And that is what allows the power limitation to the grid. So So here, this is another line diagram showing an off-grid scenario with the PV and with the diesel generators. So on the bottom left is the diesel generators. Up to 16 generators can work with this solution. 16 generators. So on the bottom center is the Huawei inverters. And obviously they're connected to the PV array. Both the generator and the inverters connect to the genset controller and with the eCube, the Encombi eCube. And this will intelligently monitor the load and the output and the sources, and it balances them to match the load while optimizing the PV and protecting your generators. And here is another PV genset on grid this time. The previous one was off grid. So you can see, again, diesel generator, grid. There's 2 power meters, and there's a Huawei smart logger. So basically, when you have a need for this, you should get in touch with us and share some details about your project, and we'll be able to recommend the right solution. The eCube comes in 3 sizes. There's S, small, medium, and large. And I believe the small is up to 0 to 100 kilowatts of output, AC output. And the medium is from 100 kilowatts to 500 kilowatts AC output. And the large is above 500 kilowatts AC output. And it is fully compatible with the Huawei inverters. And we are able to help verify your design, supply the equipment. And Encombi also has a monitoring service. So the EC Web is the built-in server of the EPC. It serves as a plug-and-play configuration. It connects with the Ethernet port of the FuelSave controller. So you're able to see all production values, fuel savings. You can adjust the tariffs, so it will calculate your fuel savings. You can get it sent to your email. There's alarms, and it's available on your PC and as an app. And this also provides data logging. You'll be able to monitor your diesel generator performance and diesel consumption and the solar production. And it will have also a history of the production and a history of any events or alarms. And yeah, you'll be able to remotely monitor and locally monitor. If you, there's an option to have an LCD screen on the unit, and you'll be able to locally monitor and remotely monitor. And this is done through the Encombi eCloud. So this is a paid service for to get the full features of the remote monitoring. So it's a subscription service, and it's very flexible. You can use it with across almost all of the diesel generator controllers, if not all of them. And the Huawei inverters gives you very efficient PV production. So I didn't speak a lot about the Huawei inverters today because that was not the main issue today. We're talking about the PV diesel solution. However, we have many webinars about the Huawei inverters. They are the #1 inverters in the world. They are very easy to install. They're easy to commission, and they perform very well. And you get all the support from Jubilee Bros. We can help verify your designs. We can help you commission. We can help you do troubleshooting and warranty support as well. Okay, so that brings me to the end of this presentation. Now, I think there will probably be some questions. So I'm going to put this slide. Yeah, I'll put this slide on here, the on-grid line diagram, and let's look at the questions. When will it start? Whoops. Okay, I think that one I can skip. With regards to other trainings, do you provide such in South Africa? Yes, we do. You should reach out to our Jubilee Bros team in South Africa. And I believe Nellis is here. I think I saw him put his contact information in the chat box, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, let me just try to confirm, where is that? I believe Nellis is here, and Nellis put his contact information in the chat box. So the answer is yes. Okay. How to enable audio. Okay, I'm sorry, Mazza here. It looks like you're having some audio problems. I hope everyone else can hear me. Okay, I see. Trying to find the next question about the diesel solution. Okay, here we go. What is the diesel average fixed running cost per kilowatt hour and fuel price per kilowatt hour? Okay, that's a good question. I think in the future webinars, I'll be able to find, to have this in the webinar. I don't know offhand the fixed running costs per kilowatt hour. The fuel price, obviously it varies from region to region, and it varies from time to time. It goes up and down, but it's mostly always up. So that's something to know. The fuel price over time is mostly always up. I know there was a dip about 2 years ago, but that was temporary, and it's still more than it was 10 years ago. So that's, I hope that answers your question. I'll try to include that next time, the fixed running operation cost of the diesel, but fuel price, you should know it's expensive. Okay, what is the solar average fixed running costs? Same question. Okay, which brand of FuelSave controller do you carry? Do they work with any brand of inverter, or is it a Huawei specific device? Yes, so we work with Encombi for the FuelSave controllers. I think they are versatile with the inverters. I think they work with a lot of different inverters. However, we supply the Huawei inverters. So that's why I was speaking about the Huawei inverters a lot today. I don't know the full list of compatible inverters, but I think it's more than Huawei. However, Huawei is #1, and we can support you across the all the equipment. Okay, next question. What is the maximum size of a HFO power plant? Those can be very big. HFO plants, they can be like hundreds of megawatts. So I'm not sure if I understand what you mean or what's that question about. Okay, what is the minimum capacity for the solar system, and what type of synchronization system will we use? Okay, minimum capacity, I don't think there's a minimum capacity, but obviously it's based on the load, and we're definitely talking in the range of kilowatts, I believe. So, and the type of synchronization, it happens through the FuelSave controller. It measures the frequency and the voltage from the diesel generator and from the grid and from the inverters. Okay, what are the specifications of fuel charge controller? Okay, specifications. So there's many specifications and there's many models. So I think if you reach out to us, we can send you the data sheets, or I'm sure you can find them online. If you go to Encombi's website, I believe they are there also. Okay, please share this lecture for future reference. Yes, you should be getting the PDF in your email and a link to this recording as well. After this, you get an automatic email. Okay, in case of existing diesel gensets, are there any special specification requirement of the gensets that we should look out for compatibility-wise? So Encombi, it works across almost all genset controllers. So I think the short answer is no. It will work with any diesel generator. However, if you have a project in mind, it's good to get the information about the diesel generators and just compare them in the user manual of Encombi, or we can assist you with that. Okay, someone asked, will we get recorded session? Yes, you will. What type of protection schemes are you guys providing? Protection schemes. I'm not sure what you mean. Maybe warranty is what you mean. So our Huawei inverters have a 5-year warranty, and I think, I'm not positive about the Encombi. I don't want to say the wrong answer. And our diesel generators also have a variable warranty. Tell us something about Huawei inverters. What's so special? Okay. Well, they perform very, very well. When you look at the LCOE, the levelized cost of your electricity with Huawei inverters, it's always among the best because there's low operating costs, low failure rate, high performance, and best of all, the after-sales support that you get with Jubilee Bros and the warranty support. Okay, what capacity can the hybrid controller support? What is maximum PV size? So the way I understand it is not the maximum PV size, it's the number of inverters that has a limit. It's the number of inverters. So if you see here on this diagram, on the bottom center, it says up to 32 inverters. Up to 32 inverters. Typically, Huawei had the biggest one, I would imagine here, is the 100 KTL. So that would be 3.2 megawatts of PV. So I hope that answers your question. Let me get back to the Q&A. Okay, thanks, you're welcome. All right, what could be a reason for one of genset is not sharing equal load when it's running parallel with other gensets? Okay, that's a good question. I'm not sure I know the answer to that. I think there's probably a generator technician who might be able to assist you. I'm more dealing with the solar side of it, so I don't know the answer to that. Kindly share the ratio between solar and genset. So the ratio depends on the nature of the load, because diesel gensets obviously would take the night load. There's no solar at night. So whatever the nighttime load is will fall to diesel. Then whatever load is happening in the daytime, generally that can be solar, but only up to a point. You have to match the solar irradiation curve. So there's no short answer to this. Every design will be slightly different. But in most applications, I think it's safe. You can tell people they can save 40 to 60% of their diesel. That's a good estimate to start with before you can look at the specifics of your load. Because generally the daytime load will go mostly to solar. So I hope that answers your question. Looking at 18 megawatt gold mine. Okay. I'm not sure what you mean about this. That's great. Do you need a solar diesel generator? Do you have generators? Do you need solar? If you have an inquiry, I think you should send us an email afterwards. We'd be happy to talk about that. Okay. What is the effect between what is the time effect between system integrations between the systems? Are you talking about the changeover maybe from one source to the other? It's very fast. It's within seconds. And I think, again, it depends on different scenarios about the design. So I think if you want to know specifically, we would need to know more about the project. I hope that was your question. Okay, thanks means it's possible to make the synchronization for 50 kilowatt solar system with generators. Yes. Yes, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, yes, the answer is yes, absolutely. Next question, what about integrating storage to the PV diesel solutions? So yes, that is something that is possible in certain scenarios. The short answer is it is possible. So if you have a project design in mind, that's where we would start. We would need to see the project design. We'd be able to suggest the equipment and help you get that done. How are you positioned price-wise with the Huawei Encombi combo versus SMA FuelSave Solution? Okay, I think, to be honest, I haven't done this price comparison, but based on my experience, I would say we're cheaper. The Huawei inverter is generally cheaper than the SMA inverter. Encombi is very reasonably priced. So I would guess that we're cheaper, although I don't know to be sure. That would be an interesting comparison. Does Encombi controller show suppressed energy units? In some projects, we provide energy units guarantee and customer load is not constant. Is Encombi better than Elam FuelSave controller in terms of GUI? Does Encombi controller show any suppressed energy units? Okay, I think I know what you mean. I think you're saying if the PV is reduced, is this recorded by the controller? That I don't know. That's a good question. But what I do know is generally the system will have a Huawei smart logger. This is the Huawei remote monitoring device. And you will be able to remotely monitor your PV on the Huawei app, but the app will not show the generator. For that, you use the Encombi monitoring if you want to see both. But the smart logger, the Huawei smart logger, does record this. So if you had this scenario and you needed to show your customer the energy produced, not only the energy consumed, I know for sure having the Huawei smart logger would allow you to do that. So you've asked, is Encombi better than the Elam FuelSave controller in terms of GUI? I'm not absolutely sure about that. I don't have a lot of experience with the Elam controller. I do believe Elam also works with Huawei, but we have been working well with Encombi. We have had great success with Encombi, and so that's what we're doing at the moment. Is there a possibility to add storage banks? The answer is yes. So that is probably too detailed to get into on this webinar. Maybe this is a good topic I'll add into future webinars, but the answer is yes, it's possible. If you have an inquiry, it would be great if you send us the project details. We'll be able to look at it, tell you what equipment is possible and how to do it. Which Huawei product to use? The Fusion Solar inverters. Huawei Fusion Solar inverters. You had mentioned that batteries can be integrated. Which hardware would be used for such a scenario? Are there scenarios where one could have diesel off mode and have a grid forming battery inverter to accompany the solar PV inverters? So the answer to the second part is yes, this is possible. You could have you could have solar with batteries and diesel is your third priority. You only use it when there's no solar or batteries. Yes, so that can work. That is possible. And you're saying which hardware would be used for such a scenario. So I think it's better if you send us the project details first, and we'll be able to recommend the equipment. I just do know that it is possible. Is there any disadvantages of using the PV plant and diesel genset hybrid? This person said, personally, I would say no. Yeah, no, if you're already using diesel, this is a no-brainer in 90% of the cases. Because the sun is free energy. As soon as you put the panels there, you don't pay for the sun. Fuel, the diesel will never end. So, yeah. I don't see a downside, especially if the diesel generators are already there, then just add solar. What if we have a load of 1 megawatt? Then what will be the ratings of PV and DG? So it's not about the load, it's more about the load profile, meaning what hours of the day is this 1 megawatt? Is it at night or is it in the day? Is it flat? Is there a base load? Is there a high base load and a small? All of those is what matters. So I can't answer this question without knowing the 24-hour load profile of the site. Thank you for your time. Looking handsome today. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, are there any more questions? Let me check the other. If there are no more questions, then I guess this is a good place to end it. If you have any more questions, you can type them now. Try to get them in right here at the end. I hope you guys have learned a lot. I hope this opened your eyes. I know this wasn't too detailed on the equipment specifics, so I think we're going to include more detailed information in future webinars, and I think we'll also add more information about the battery storage with the solar and the diesel. So I see this question is asking about the asking about the load profile. 24-hour load profile is for hourly basis or min basis. Yeah, it should be minute or 5 minutes, could be okay. And we're talking about 24 hours and probably 7 days a week, because it would be great to know their weekend load profile, not just on one day. In fact, the more days you have, 30 days is even better. Okay, thanks for the good introduction. Thank you as well. With battery technology of battery storage, which technology of battery storage solution is best for long-term usage? Not too sure what you mean. Maybe you mean lithium ion or other chemistries. So lithium ion is very good, and it just depends on your application. There's others that are also good. We deal with lithium ion batteries. Have you been used Huawei central inverters? What are the advantages when compared with Temiec or any other brand? Okay, Huawei is a string inverter. It's not a central inverter. So Huawei, it's string inverters. They're made to connect with each other in a string, and they work together as an intelligent unit. So I think you should probably attend one of our Huawei webinars. We give you all the information about that. We'll tell you all the advantages, why it's string, why not central, all of that. So if you're not following us on LinkedIn, follow us. You'll be getting an email after this event. And yeah, just look for our future webinars. Are there Huawei solution for logging load profile, or are there any recommended products? Okay, good question. So we have a smart logger, and yeah, this can log your load profile when you also use a power meter. You have to have a smart logger and a power meter, and you set it up on your grid, and it measures the current on your grid, measures your power consumption. Get the smart logger, it will log that. What are major advantages for lithium-ion batteries? Okay, that's not really today's topic, but very quickly is that the price is good, the lifetime is good, the round trip efficiency is good, meaning you get like 95% of the energy you put in, 95% can come out. So that's good compared to others. It's easy to deploy. Those are some of the advantages. All right, what about THD of an inverter? THD, I'm not sure what you mean by THD. You mentioned smart logger and the meter are both required. Yes. Okay, so I mean, it depends on what your application is. But if you're talking about logging your energy consumption, yes. You should probably send us an email. Oh, total harmonic distortion, irrelevant. Yeah, I think that's something we can talk about in the future, but basically it's handled by the FuelSave controller. Also, the Huawei inverters are very flexible, so that's another topic we'll go into another time. Is Huawei eCube able to communicate directly with Caterpillar EMC diesel control units? Okay, so it's not a Huawei eCube, it's an Encombi eCube. Now, I hope you're not confusing. Huawei has another product called the iCube. That's something we didn't talk about today. I hope you're not talking about that. Huawei has an iCube that we didn't speak about. It's something totally different. Today we were looking at the Encombi eCube. And is it able to communicate directly with Caterpillar ECMP diesel generators? I'm going to say yes, but you should send us more details after this. But I believe that it is able. Total harmonic distortion, yeah. This is something we'll talk about on on a Huawei inverter time. If DG set load profile required to record for the existing power station, what will be your recommended tool for recording the load profile, which will help for the better simulation? DG load profile set to record for the existing power station. Okay, so I guess you have existing diesel generators. You want to measure the load profile in order to do a measurement for the PV. So what's your recommended tool? So there's many. I don't have a recommended tool. It's possible when you use the Huawei Smart Logger and a power meter, if you use them together, you'll be able to measure this. However, yeah, there's many ways to do this. So I don't want to give you a recommended one. Okay, guys, it looks like all of the questions. So I just want to thank you very much for your time and attention.